Hey everybody, my name is Eric Hopkins and welcome to my YouTube channel. If you're finding me for the very first time, please click that like and subscribe button. And don't forget to hit that notification bell so you get all the notifications about when I put up new content right here on this channel. So I wanted to do a review for the new Chris Pratt movie that is on Amazon Prime right now entitled The Tomorrow War. So this is going to be a spoiler review. So if you have not seen the movie and you're looking forward to watching it, please check out now and then come back to watch this video after you've seen the film, and I'll let you know all the details about that movie once you've seen it. So this movie has been getting a lot of criticism online, and a lot of it has to do with, I think, Chris McKay as the director. I don't know if that's not him personally, but it's just the way he kind of shot this film. It does kind of feel a little bit Michael Bay-ish to me. A lot of explosions and things like that, and sometimes, certain things don't line up very well when it comes to some of the story. But and I do believe in Michael Bay fashion, it also kind of drags on a little bit here. It's a little longer than it maybe needed to be, especially in regards to the third act. I kind of feel like you could have, ended it before you went to the mothership crash landed, in the ice and things like that. You could have done, maybe cut it off when he came back in time with the, virus or whatever you want to call it to kill off these creatures. So I think you could have done that and maybe, shaved off a good 20-25 minutes or how long that last segment took. Don't get me wrong. I enjoyed the last segment. I thought it was actually a very good to me personally, but I'm not overly critical as some might be. Unless, it comes to like, some professional wrestling shows, I guess I could be a little overly critical with things like that, but I digress. I think a lot of people are complaining a little bit about the CGI elements in this film. I thought the animal or the alien designs were really good. There were a few times where you were looking at Chris Pratt's face, like when he's hanging out of a helicopter, you're like, it looks like they digitally imposed Chris Pratt's face on another actor or something like that. I don't know. It was a little weird. So I understand the criticisms there, but I'm not going to lie. Overall, I enjoyed this film. I actually thought it was a lot of fun. Is it, the greatest film ever made? No, of course not. But I thought for a film on Amazon that was not released in theaters, obviously most of that is due to the pandemic and maybe because a lot of these studio heads thought this film wasn't going to perform very well. I actually had a lot of fun watching it. I thought the alien designs, as I mentioned, were really cool. I loved how they were like, these dogs that like had these huge teeth and like these tentacles that shot, spiky barbs, which is hence their name, White Spikes, because that they were white in nature as well. So I thought that was a nice mix, and of course the sounds that they were making, the clicking sounds, was very eerie and very well done. It kept me on the edge of my seat because these things were so fast and you really could not kill them. I mean, when it comes to their weaknesses, they really only could be shot in two places, and the rest of their body was completely covered in armor and they wouldn't get hurt by any bullets. So you had to hit them in the neck or in the belly, and that was the only way to take them out. So I thought that was a nice little clever way of doing it. And of course the story revolves around the whole idea that these aliens have invaded Earth and are killing people 30 years in the future, and Earth is on the brink of total extinction and annihilation. So the armies of 30 years from now teleport back in time 30 years prior and draft people from the current day to go fight in this Tomorrow War, hence the name of the film. And Chris Pratt obviously is an ex-military man who fought in Iraq, and he is drafted to go and help this war effort here to help the human race survive. And one of the more interesting parts about this movie is the fact that when he goes into the future, he meets his little girl who is an adult. And you find out all this interesting backstory stuff about how, after, things that have happened, he ended up leaving them in the past. And of course, his daughter is full of, different trauma and, emotions in regards to that because she lost her daddy, who she looked up to, as we see in the beginning of this film. The little girl is played very well by the young actress who portrays her. And of course, the actress who portrays her older in the future, is of course a scientist who her dad is also. He after the war in Iraq, he became a science teacher, and of course, so he taught her to research science, and of course she kind of did a little bit of both, much like he did, and she kind of got involved with the military and things like that. So yeah, that's it's a really cool little echo when it comes to seeing yourself and your child a little bit, and of course dealing with the trauma that she had to endure with her father. And of course, there's a nice story there where she learns more about her dad, and of course she remembers after seeing him, because he's not lived the life that she claims happened, so he's not that guy, and so she understands that he is a better man than she remembers him being. So there's a nice little story arc there that I really thoroughly enjoyed. And of course, since she's a scientist, she is able to, I guess, using her scientific knowledge, she's able to develop this antivirus or anti-serum that they can use to destroy these aliens, because there's really no other way of killing them. They attack in swarms and packs, and it's really hard to survive because they're just so ruthless and unstoppable. And, humans are basically no longer on the top of the food chain, and so these aliens are just running rampant all over the planet. So it was really clever. Of course, about the time toward the end of the film where Chris Pratt gets sent back to his time, because they've all got these timers on them where they have to serve for a week, and if they survive the week, they go back to their normal time and are able to live out their lives. Or if they need help again, they'll get redrafted or whatever it might be. And of course, by the end of the film, he's sent back to his normal time, and of course he has to watch his adult daughter die, and of course he is now the last hope for humanity by taking this serum back to present day and mass producing it so they could stop these aliens in the future. But Chris Pratt and a few others realize that they've always been here, and the ship is buried under the ice. I can't remember exactly where it was. It was somewhere way up north. But due to global warming, it slowly thawed and things like that, and that is what unleashed these aliens on the Earth. And so they go up there to try to stop them before this ever begins. And of course, it ends up in climactic, awesome fashion where they they enter the alien ship and try to inject the serum, and of course, that works. But at the same time, the other aliens, kind of catch wind of this, and they fight with everything they have to survive. And it ends up coming down to Chris Pratt and his father, who's played by J.K. Simmons, who also does a great job in this film. What little bit he's in it, he's mostly in the final part here, because he's not in it a whole lot, because it's kind of the same thing that happened with Chris Pratt's daughter in the film, where they kind of, grew apart. Chris Pratt and his father kind of suffered the same fate earlier on in their lives. And of course, J.K. Simmons' characters try to reconnect with them so he could be a part of his granddaughter's life. And of course, by the end of this film, they work together to kill off the final alien before all this ever begins, and preventing the future Tomorrow War and all the casualties thereof. And in so doing, they repair their relationship, and J.K. Simmons' grandfather's character is able to be a grandfather to his granddaughter. So it's a really touching story. I didn't mind it nearly as much as a lot of people did. I thought it was a lot of fun, a lot of great action. Some good humor too. Chris Pratt has obviously got that. But another reason I feel like this film is really not being, accepted well, a lot of it is just due to Chris Pratt. And it's not his fault, in my opinion. It's just people starting to hate him, sometimes not really for any reason. To me, yes, has he been in a lot of movies? Of course. Maybe a lot of people are just getting sick of seeing him because he's in, let's be honest, the Guardians of the Galaxy films, the Avengers films, the Jurassic World franchise. He was in Parks and Rec. He's in a lot of different stuff because he's very popular right now. He's a very bankable star, I think. And so movie studios are going to be putting him in a lot of stuff. And of course, I'm sure he wants to do the work as well. But he kind of got into a little bit of hot water, not to go into politics too much here, but a lot of it is just because Chris Pratt goes to church, and some people have, obviously criticized him for going to a church who doesn't support LGBTQ values and things like that, but even while that might be, Chris Pratt has never come out and said anything about being a Trump supporter or being anything about, against, LGBTQ or anything like that. He's never said anything like that, but people, assume a lot about the man because he goes to this church, who doesn't necessarily hold all of his values and things like that. But we as a culture have sometimes, jumped on this bandwagon. It's like, oh, we got to attack this person or attack that person. And just because he might be conservative, I don't think that's a reason to attack the guy. He's a great actor. He's a lot of fun to watch, and I think that a lot of that is just because of that. So if that's the case, are we going to criticize Jurassic World? Are we going to criticize Guardians of the Galaxy 3? Are we going to start doing that for future films just because this guy never said anything wrong and never did anything wrong, but all of a sudden cancel culture is coming after him too. But I digress on that. Like I said, I try to stay away from politics and stuff on this channel for the most part, but I just feel like that may be part of the reason why this is getting downvoted by a lot of critics. And if that's the case, I don't feel like that's fair. I think we should judge films based on their merit alone. And if that's the case, if you don't like this film based on this film and what it presents to you, that's totally understandable and nothing wrong with that there. But me personally, I had a lot of fun watching the Tomorrow War. I highly recommend it. Like I said, since it's not in theaters, I don't think it's too much to ask to, check it out on Amazon or whatever. Go support the service over there. And obviously, check this movie out. And if you like it, by all means, comment down below. Let me know. And if you didn't like it, comment down below and let me know as well. And don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button. And don't forget to hit the notification bell so you get all the notifications about when I put up new content right here on this channel. And of course, look forward to more movie reviews coming up here in the future. Black Widow is coming out this week. I will be reviewing that here on the channel. So by all means, stay tuned for that. And until my next video, guys, take care.
We about to turn it on.